Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat. Narito kayo sa Damanghas Interviews. Magkakaroon sa kauna-unahang pagkakataon ng eleksyon sa Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. Ito ay sa gitna ng mga panawagan ng Independent Mindanao. Pag-uusapan natin yan kasama si Attorney Omar Yasser Sema, ang Deputy Speaker ng Bangsamoro Transition Authority Parliament.
Magandang araw, Miss Malu. Ako po'y nagagalak at binigyan niyo kami ng pagkakataon makasalamuha kayo dito, of course,
Alright.
today.
Si Attorney Sema po ay graduate ng Public Administration sa Notre Dame University at Law sa Ateneo de Davao Law School. Siya rin po ay dating legal officer ng City Government ng Cotabato City. Attorney, kwento nyo nga sa amin ano ang latest sa preparation for the first parliamentary election sa Bangsamoro.
Currently, we're finishing the parliament districting bill, no? Kasi yun ho yung magkukumpleto sa elective positions that are at stake for the first parliamentary elections in 2025. Maalala ho natin ang Republic Act 11054 provides for a parliament that is composed of 80 members, no? 50% will be coming from elected representatives of the political parties, no? And which 40 ho yun, and 32 or 40% of the seats will come from the single seat districts, no? And around 10% or 8 manggagaling naman ho sa sectoral representatives. Now, that's half of what we have accomplished already. No, natapos na ho namin yung electoral code. It's already a law, and it's now with the Commission on Elections. Ang hinihintay lang ho namin from the Commission on Elections ay yung implementing rules and regulations, no, nung election code. I believe with these two laws, hopefully mapapas na ho namin ang districting ngayon, ngayong buwan before we go sine die. The region is almost prepared. Of course, that is besides the fact that we still continue yung institution building ng Bangsamoro government, because hindi ho pwedeng during the conduct of elections in 2025 hindi ho pwedeng hindi ituloy yung mga serbisyo, no? All of the services should be continuously done even during the election period.
Okay.
Kailangan makadeliver pa rin ho ang Bangsamoro government.
Alright. Alam ko medyo innovative ilang provisions ng electoral code na kayo ay isa sa principal author nga. Pero mag-segue po muna tayo dun sa medyo hot story ngayon. Yung tinatawag nilang Mindanao Independence Movement. Alam ko nagsalita na po si Mr. Ibrahim na hindi kayo sang-ayon. Ano po yung saloobin ng Parliament, ng Bangsamoro PTA Parliament?
In general ho, we abide by the position of the Chief Minister. No? He is the leader of the Bangsamoro government, and whatever he says after consultation with the other leaders of the BTA, yun ho yung magiging position namin. And so far, yun ho yung saloobin ng karamihan sa amin who have already yung mga nakausap na ho ni Chief Minister, yun ho yung saloobin namin. We support the president, and of course we have made statements already that secession or the separation of Mindanao from the Republic of the Philippines currently has no basis, no? Wala hong basihan para maisulong yung ganyan na usapin, no? Of course, we took into consideration pa rin ho yung kung saan nanggagaling yung sentimiento ng mga nagsusulong, particularly ho ang dating Pangulong Rodrigo Roa Duterte. Iniintindi ho natin saan nanggagaling yung sentimiento niya, at pinapalabas niya yung ganyan na mga usapin. Kasama na rin ho si former Speaker
Ayun,
Batalyon Alvarez, no?
Mhm.
Iintindi ho natin yan. Probably it was all born out of the issue on charter change. Doon sa
Yun.
nakikita nilang maling proseso na pagsusulong sa charter change. However, yung pagpapahiwatig niya ng paghihiwalay sa Republika ng Pilipinas, hindi ho yun yung solusyon. Probably nandun din sa problema yung solusyon eh. Yung charter change, may nakasaad naman ho sa saligang batas paano isulong yun. I think ho yung pwede nilang tignan para malutas yung mga suliranin na ganyan.
So, one experiment, yung Bangsamoro project, ang sabi ng Pangulo historical, yung magiging eleksyon, at we should make it work. On the other hand, tong Independent Mindanao na proyekto, parang paano yun? Magtatalo ba yun on balance? Which is the better path? Kasi yung Bangsamoro is part of Mindanao. Ang kabuuan ng Mindanao 23 o 27 provinces, depende kung ano yung bibilangin. At mayroong 30 syudad at mayroong 26 na milyong tao. So, sa tingin ninyo, pwede bang out ang Bangsamoro doon sa Independent Mindanao o dapat magkasalo?
Well, unang-una, it all boils down to how our leaders will look at it, no. Ang sa amin ho, ang usapin ng secession is a regression, no. Yung parang it's a regression of what we are doing from what we are doing right now. Yung parang pinapawalang kwenta natin yung mga nasimulan at yung mga natapos na natin ngayong transition period, no. Of course, makikinig pa rin ho tayo dun sa usapin. But ang punto ho dito, as far as the Bangsamoro is concerned, we believe na yung usaping sa session is a regression. Yun na nga, parang bumabalik tayo sa pagkabata niyan na
Second
usapin.
childhood siguro.
Oo. So kailangan talaga na balansehin, of course, babalansehin natin 'yan ng maayos at titignan ng masinop na bibigyan ng masinop na pag-analisa, no, sa sitwasyon. And tama ho kayo, 27 provinces ho ang nandito sa Mindanao, and malalaman natin yung buong 27 din ba na yun, ganun din ho ba ang pananaw nila dun sa pananaw ni Pangulong Rodrigo Roa Duterte? That should be taken into consideration. Hindi lang ho yung Bangsamoro dapat din ang tinitingnan, yung ibang mga probinsya rin. And I believe there are other provinces that pwede nating sabihin na mas gusto pa rin nila na manatili sa Republika ng Pilipinas. And of course, the idea of secession originated from the Moro National Liberation Front. Ang sinasabi natin, kung may magsisimula ho dapat ng usaping secession, it will be the Bangsamoro. No?
Okay. At for background, yung inyo pong ama, no? Si Mr. Sema ay naging chairman ng Central Committee ng Moro National Liberation Front. Ano po? So, Muslimin Sema. Ngayon, tanong ko lang po, kasi ang sabi ni Congressman Alvarez, kung gusto nyo, sumali kayo. Bangsamoro. Kung ayaw nyo, diwag. Pwede ho bang gano'n? Hindi kayo kasali pag sinabing
Sinabi na ho niya eh. Yun din ho ang gagawin
join
natin.
ba kayo o hindi?
Yeah. But of course, we will continue to talk to President Duterte and Speaker Alvarez because they were the ones who materialized the Bangsamoro. Sa panahon nila, sa liderato nila, na-realize ang Bangsamoro. Ang laki ng sakripisyo ng dalawang leaders na yan sa pagpupursige na maisabatas yung Republic Act 11054. Nakita ho natin, ang konstitusyon ho noon, ang saligang batas ho noon ay palaging tinitignan para ikumpara dun sa mga probisyon ng Bangsamoro Organic Law. And these two persons, these two respected leaders, dinapaan ho nila yung Republic Act 11054, no? And we continue to take that into consideration. Kaya
All
kung maaari, I believe this is the position of our leaders in the Bangsamoro. I believe kung may pagkakataon na magpapagitna yung mga leaders namin, magpapagitna ho sila upang mapag-usap yung dalawang mga leaders ng Republika ng Pilipinas.
Tama po kayo, no? Dapat i-acknowledge ang naging papel ni dating Pangulong Duterte at ni dating Speaker Pantaleon Alvarez sa pagpasa ng organic law. Ano po? Dahil kung hindi naman sila kasali, walang BARM ngayon, walang Bangsamoro. Pero ang sabi ko ni Congressman Alvarez, ang problema, ang daming mahihirap sa Mindanao, ang daming mga likas na yaman ng Mindanao na ang nag-exploit mga taga-Imperial Manila o yung mga iba-ibang korporasyon. Pero ano ho ba ang sitwasyon, socio-economic condition sa Mindanao? Talaga bang medyo neglected kayo o ignored ang mga taong bayan natin sa Mindanao?
Yeah, we can say in general, neglected ho talaga ang karamihan sa Mindanao. Yung sources, yung natural resources alone, no? Ang nagmimina dito karamihan galing talaga sa Luzon, yung mga corporations based in Makati. Those whose headquarters are in Makati, no? They pay their taxes in Manila. Yan. And ilan lang yung sa taxes na binabayaran nila, ilan lang ho ang bumabalik sa Bangsamoro. And take for instance the case of the Bangsamoro, 5% nga lang ho yung hinihingi namin na black grant, the amount of black grant, no. But nonetheless, yun na nga, sinabi na rin nila na may problema rin talaga. Ibalik natin yung usapin na yan, no, sa economic neglect. Alam din nila na may neglect talaga. So there is really a need din talaga siguro to amend the Constitution.
Okay.
Particularly in the social economic provisions of the 1987 Constitution. And now this brings back to yung sinasabi ho namin dito sa BARM ngayon na we believe there is now an opportunity here, no, to unang-una ho to achieve the full implementation of the comprehensive agreement ng the Bangsamoro, no, yung entrenchment of the Bangsamoro in the 1987 Constitution. Kasama ho yan sa framework agreement ng the Bangsamoro. Now, yun ho, as far as the Moro National Liberation Front is concerned, which I represent, we really have hinged our hope doon sa comprehensive agreement ng the Bangsamoro dahil napag-agrihan ho yan ng MNLF, ng MILF at ng GPH and even the OIC that the comprehensive agreement ng the Bangsamoro will be the way to implement all signed peace agreements. And even the former president agreed on that, 'di ba? 'Di ba noon ang two-pronged policy niya noon sa peace process is to implement all signed agreements in step with legal and constitutional reforms. Yung legal, nagawa na ho yan. Na-repeal na ho ang Republic Act 9054. Ang hindi na lang ho nagagawa ngayon, yung constitutional reform. The former president even attempted to amend the Constitution and introduce yung federalism idea. Nag-agree ho talaga tayo doon sa pananaw niya na may mali sa sistema, and I believe ganun din ho yung pananaw ng kasalukuyang Pangulo, no? Hindi ho nagkakalayo yung pananaw nila na may problema sa sistema, but again, I think it's only in the process na dapat nilang pag-usapan ano ba talaga ang gagawing proseso. Is it constitutional convention? Is it constituent assembly or people's initiative?
Correct. Sa panig ni Congressman Alvarez, ang sabi niya, tinanong namin, paano yung proseso? Paano i-roll out ang inyong Independent Mindanao Project? Ang sabi niya, people power daw. Ibig sabihin, yung mga tao katulad ng nasa EDSA, lalabas daw para magpahayag at kunin ang kanilang freedom of expression. Di tinanong po namin, ano ho ba yung sistema ng gobyerno na inyong panukala? Federal system daw. So yung administrative regions, 6 po sa Mindanao, meron daw mga kinatawan na parang tipong independent or autonomous federal states. Ang sabi po niya, dapat parang wala siyang malinaw pang timetable at this time pero gusto daw niya awareness building. Sa tingin niyo ba, ito ay mayroong pag-asa na mag-roll out na parang 26 million people from Mindanao will have to sign up for a project like this?
I definitely don't believe na roll out, but I believe that the discussion will prosper,
Okay.
magkakaroon ng enlightenment ang mga taga Mindanao, and we will all go back to the original situation during the time of President Duterte, yung sinasabi niyang federalism, no?
Correct.
Yun yung magiging kahinatnan niyan sa enlightenment. Sasabihin, I believe, ang sasabihin lang ng taong bayan, sinimulan na ni President Duterte noon yung sa federalism project niya, and maybe that's precisely the correct way na mapag-usapan ito. May systems tayo na dapat baguhin, and not only the economic provisions of the Constitution, but even the systems. But I believe hindi ho to makakarating sa usaping paghihiwalayan ng
Alright.
Mindanao, Visayas at Luzon.
Okay. So, the idea of parang yung federalism, matagal na rin naman ho, di ba po? Marami ding mga interested o keen doon sa advocacy na yan. Pero itong huling Independent Mindanao Project, ang nagsalita pong una si dating Pangulong Duterte. At mukhang dahil meron silang away-away o hiwalayan ni mga Dutertes at ng Pangulong BBM. Ano ho sa tingin? And we asked Congressman Alvarez, paano ho ba yan? Yan ho ba'y parang pambebenga o pang-iinis o talagang malinaw na proyektong gusto nyo gawin? Kasi nagsimula doon sa confidential and intelligence funds na na-pull out at tapos ay nagkaroon na ng samaan ng loob, may problema na baka yung ICC mahuli si dating Pangulong Duterte. Ano sa tingin ninyo? Ito ba'y talagang the idea will stand on its own dahil it's a possibly good idea or dahil merong political skirmishes lang ngayon?
I personally believe it cannot stand on its own on those premises that you have stated.
Alright.
Compare
Okay.
ho natin yan noon dun sa case ng Moro National Liberation Front when they waged the armed struggle in the 70s. Yun ho,
Correct.
may basehan ho talaga yun na klaro, no? In the words of the United States Constitution, there were trains of abuses that led to the enlightenment of the young Moro generation then, no, na naisipang mag-aklas at humawak ng armas at lumaban sa pang-aabuso ng mga security forces noon, no. And of course, hindi lang yung pang-aabuso ng sa security apparatus noon, but also the rampant conflict, yung very wide conflict noon ng Moro and non-Moro noon na nag-udyok talaga na ang mga Moro ay mag-organize at lumaban. Ngayon ho, wala hong ganun na
Lang
sitwasyon.
ganun.
Walang ganun na sitwasyon in order to sustain that call for secession, no. Ang ano lang ho is may mga sistema lang ho na pwedeng baguhin sa mga proseso na nakalahad naman sa ligang batas. Yun
Alright.
ang pwedeng mapag-usapan yan on the platform of the 1987 Constitution.
Ibig sabihin, kung meron mang ideyang mahusay at pwede naman talagang pag-usapan, ano yung proseso ng pagbabago ng konstitusyon, labas na dapat yan dun sa bangayan ng mga political families na hindi yung nagkakasundo.
Yeah, yan naman ho talaga, no. And I think hindi ho to I believe hindi man ho to siguro bangayan ng mga pamilya, no. And I believe may kanya-kanyang pinaninindigan ho yung mga nakasali sa usapin na to, no. And I believe it's in the process, really. It's in the process that they disagree. And if they disagree on the process, and then they can find ways, no. Pwede ho sila maghanap sa mga proseso na nakasaad o nakalahad sa Constitution, and through those processes, mapag-usapan nila yung mga problemang dapat lutasin na
Alright.
matagal ng mga problema na dapat nang lutasin, no, na hindi nalulutas dahil nga may kanya-kanyang suspicion of interest, sinasabi unang-una yung extension of terms of office. Minsan nagiging stumbling block, no, to resolve the inherent problems that are seen in the Constitution, no. Yun yung nagiging hadlang. So baka pwedeng pag-usapan na, sige, magsakripisyo muna tayo. Huwag muna natin pag-usapan yung mga extension of terms. Kung may kalalabasan naman na extension of terms, probably those are the sacrifices that all of us should bear, no? Para lang mapabago natin, yung mapabuti yung sistema ng ating pamamahala o ating pamahalaan.
Okay. So, Attorney Omar, ang nakalista po kayo'y principal author. Balik tayo sa BARM, ano po? Yung Electoral Code, yung Local Governance Code, at saka yung Rights of Internally Displaced Persons. Ilan lang sa napakahaba listahan. Pero, ang Electoral Code po ninyo parang merong dagdag na mga provisions na wala sa Omnibus Election Code, particularly yung representation ng mga kababaihan. Mukhang may affirmative action kayo doon. Pakipaliwanag nyo nga ho para makita nila kung gaano kakaiba at mas mahusay tila ang inyong Electoral Code.
Yung Electoral Code ho kasi, dyan ho, nilagay na namin ho lahat dyan yung mga pangarap namin. No?
All right.
Mga pangarap namin at yung mga pinapangarap namin para sa mga susunod na henerasyon. We make sure that our governance would be inclusive, no, and of course gender sensitive, no, and equitable sa distribution ng resources, no? Yun yung gusto namin mangyari. And as far as gender sensitivity is concerned, we make sure that in the parliament there will be female representation. Okay. No, talagang tinataga namin yan na merong mga babaeng iboboto. No? Okay. At hindi lang yung mga babae from the families, no? Kasi alam naman natin, meron man din talagang mga kababaihan na binoboto, pero meron pa rin na nanggagaling sa mga families, no? They really, with due respect to women, hindi naman lahat ng kababaihan may dinadalang advokasya, no? Okay. And we believe that women who have their advocacies, who have their clear programs, who have their principles, yung hindi nakaangkla sa pangalan o apelyido nila o apelyido ng pamilya nila, but on their own merits, no? Women who can stand on their own merits na dapat iluklok sa parliament. At sila naman yung mga, alam mo kasi pag may babae, sigurado ho yung kinabukasan ng, of course, unang-una mga kababaihan. Yung mga bata, sigurado ho yan dahil may nagbabantay sa parliament. Yan yung gusto nating masiguro diyan. Kasi kung with due respect to the men naman, pag lalaki kasi minsan hindi na nila iniisip, hindi nila what do you call this, na-articulate yung mga issues, particularly social issues that affect women, the youth, the children, yan.
Okay. Ano yung napagkasundoan? Ilang porsyento?
30% of the parliament will come from the women. And of course, magkakaroon ho yan ng proseso sa partido. Depende na ho sa partido kung ano yung level ng sharing sa number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. Dun sa top 5, kung ilan yung kababaihan na gusto nilang ilagay, depende na ho yan sa partido. But we made sure tayo ho, advocate ho talaga tayo. And we were one of the advocates of this provision of the electoral code na siguraduhin na may kababaihan sa
Ibig sabihin, 30% of 80 members of parliament. So, 24 ang sana halal na kababaihan. Sila ay manggagaling sa mga partido na may requirement.
Hindi ho ng parliament. But 30% of the political parties should come from the nominees of the political parties shall come from the women.
Okay. And then the sectoral representatives, iba pa
Sectoral
po.
representatives, dun ho sa sectoral representatives, meron na hong siguradong 2 kababaihan ho doon na uupo sa parliament.
Okay. Ngayon, ano ho ang sabi ng COMELEC? Parang tila kaiba ito kasi walang mga gender affirmative provisions, ano po, sa ating election code right now. Kumbaga, kung sino yung gusto mo ipatakbo, babae, lalaki, o LGBTQ community, okay lang. Sa inyo po, bakit kailangan may ganun na provision?
This is one way of ensuring women representation ho, no? And that women will have their say in policy making, no? And in legislation. Yun ho yung gusto nating masiguro. In fact, from the words of the chair of the Commission on Elections, siya mismo nagsabi obsolete na ho ang Omnibus Election Codes, and they're looking at our draft, at the bill we have passed. Even yung sinasabing 10,000 membership, even the chair of the COMELEC and the president, I think he mentioned this during speech when we turned over the IRR of the draft IRR. Sabi niya, tama naman yan, di ba, Mr. Chair? Sabi ni presidente daw na kung may partido ka, dapat may tao ka.
All right.
Yung
Okay.
yun yung nakita nila, and I believe I saw this. Can I say this in here? Na I saw an interview of the Supreme Court Chief Justice, and he even advised the chair of the COMELEC to start amending the Omnibus Election Code.
10,000 members per political party, dapat.
Per political party, yun ho yung nakasaad doon, and I think even the president appreciated that provision, ensuring na may tao nga yung political party, and it will not be dominated by the families or the traditional politicians.
All right. So ibig sabihin 10,000 members ng political party. Ilan ho ba ang total registered voters sa BARM?
We have a total registered voter of almost 2 million.
Okay. At ilan po ang political parties na sa ngayon ay aktibo? Kalahok transition party.
From what we have been monitoring, meron na yatang 7 hanggang 8 na political parties that have already been registered, no, with the Commission on Elections. Pero hindi pa ho lahat ho yan, including the UBJP and the Party of the Moro National Liberation Front, yung BAPA, Bangsamoro Party, ay hindi pa accredited for the 2025 elections because we still have to wait for the establishment of the Bangsamoro Electoral Office, the new regional office of the Commission on Elections, and we still have to wait for the implementing rules and regulations of the Bangsamoro Electoral Code.
Okay. Ngayon, liban ho dun sa mga partido na parang medyo sana malinaw, may tao, may mga kinatawan na accountable. Ano pa po ang mga pagbabago? Halimbawa po sa mga usapin ng campaign finance. Usually ito yung parang pagtatago. Ano po? Saan galing ang donasyon? Paano ginastos ang pera pagdating ng eleksyon? At yung overspending, ang hirap mo mahabol dahil walang umaamin na namimili ng boto.
As far as campaign finance is concerned, we still follow the provisions of the Omnibus Election Code.
Okay.
But we have put a provision in the Electoral Code that would allow public financing,
Okay.
or public funding of political parties. No? Those who will be participating, there will be public funding for them until such time na hindi na sila nananalo. Pag di na nananalo or hindi nakaka-produce ng MP, probably funding would be removed. Yan. And ang importante ho, we have agreed to put a provision in the Electoral Code that there will be public funding for political parties.
Alright. Ngayon, para ho maintindihan ng mga nanonood, ano po, ang political party reform bills na pending sa Kongreso ng matagal na, may ideya niyang public funding. Pero ito ay para i-develop, ano po, at gawing mas malinaw ang advocacy at ang accountability ng mga political parties. Paano ho yun? Kasi kadalasan, ang problema ng mga tao mga politiko at mga angkan lang naman ang namamayagpag sa mga political parties at sa eleksyon. Sa inyo po, paano masisiguro na the public funding will be well worth it?
of course, hindi man nila mahahawakan yung pondo diyan.
Okay.
I think ang idea ng public funding, of course, is access to campaign, dun sa
Alright.
campaign,
Yun.
yeah,
Mhm.
airtime.
Correct time.
Airtime. The Bangsamoro government may be able to fund airtime for political parties.
Mm.
Equitable ang sharing sa airtime, equal ang access sa airtime, and it will be funded by the Bangsamoro government.
Okay.
Posibleng ganun ho yung magiging itsura niyan.
Alright.
Kasi alam natin na particularly here in the Bangsamoro, kung wala kang pera, wala kang access sa airtime. Hindi ka makakabili ng airtime hanggang campaign paraphernalia ka lang, no?
Okay.
Hanggang poster ka lang siguro, but an airtime, which is I believe the more is the more useful tool to campaign, yung airtime, doon dapat nabibigyan ng pagkakataon lahat ng political parties. And with such funding, pwede na natin ngayon i-regulate din yung airtime ng mga mas maraming pera, no? Mga political parties. That's the nature of that's the idea that we have embodied in this proposed public funding for political
Parang
parties.
COMELEC hour, ano po?
Parang COMELEC hour, pero hindi lang ho COMELEC hour na yung magde-debate or what, no? Hindi. Even probably radio, bibigyan sila, let's say 1 minute, 1 minute or 30 second, sponsored by the Bangsamoro government.
Okay. Yun, samantala po dun sa mga parang nagbabalak tumakbo. Kasi ang sabi nila, yun nga, at kayo rin ang nag-acknowledge noon, maraming mga political families sa BARM. At malamang meron silang bentahe na name recall, resources, at syempre yung career history nila.
Command vote.
Opo. Tapos ang next na problem natin is ano naman ho yung participation ng mga dating commander? Ano ho ba so far ang sitwasyon? Kasi yung iba daw dating commander meron pang mga pending na kaso unless mayroong amnesty commission na iklaro yung kanilang mga kaso, baka hindi sila makatakbo pagdating ng filing of candidacy na papalapit na po, no? Oktubre.
Yes, yan ho yung napag-usapan namin ng isa sa mga colleagues natin kapon who are in charge with the amnesty, the pursuit of the amnesty provisions of the CAB, no? MP Raisa Jujuri, napag-usapan nga namin yan kahapon. Malapit na ang campaign, ang election period or the 2025 election. It's time na ma-realize na yung amnesty, ma-process na yung mga application for amnesty. And I believe sa dami ng mag-a-apply yata, kasi yung 26,000 na madedecommission na combatants, all of those will have to be given amnesty proclamations. No? Hindi lang ho yung mga commanders. Kasi yung 26,000 na yun, mga botante ho yun. If you don't have, hindi sila mabigyan ng amnestiya, paano sila magre-register as voters, no? That's beside the point na yung mga leaders, paano mag-file ng candidacy kung merong nag-aabang na warrant of arrest, no? Against them. So we spoke about it yesterday, and we believe that indispensable ho yung pag-process ng amnesty for the combatants ng MILF, not only for the MILF, even for the MNLF, no? Kasi covered ho ang Moro National Liberation Front yan.
So 26,000 ang parang nakaabang na aplikante for amnesty. Both yung mga parang boots on ground at mga commander. Ano po? Hahabol pa ho ba yun sa registration of new voters? Ito yatang Pebrero magsisimula na. Oktubre ang filing of certificates of candidacy. So ang puwang ninyo ay halos 6 na buwan lang?
Yes, that's a concern that we really need to hurdle, no? Challenge ho talaga yung the numbers that have to be to be processed sa amnesty program, and itong naiiwan na itong mga periods of registration, no? kasi very limited ho talaga yung time. I believe pagdating ng Oktubre, kung filing of candidacies na, wala na hong registration yun. So technically ito lang ho. And then meron pa hong mga ibang activities sa Bangsamoro like the plebiscite, no?
Correct.
Of the 8 municipalities
Municipality.
out of the SGA, and then yung 3 munisipyo na galing sa hinating 2 munisipyo. These are activities that we need to hurdle also, particularly dun sa government expenditure. Pag nagkataon ho na matutuloy yung plebisito, siyempre merong COMELEC ban sa expenditures diyan. And nakikita namin yon na magiging hadlang na naman yon sa, I mean, ma-delay na naman yung delivery of services pag ganyan.
Okay. Ang inyo po bang plebisito itong taon, ano po? Kailan
Yeah, this year, it's around April of this year. I think the date that was mentioned to me was April 13. I'm not really sure of this year.
Okay, so napakahigpit pala ng inyong calendar, ano po? At marami ho ba na nagnanais na both mga commanders o dating combatants compared with yung mga galing sa political families na tila gustong tumakbo?
Yeah, marami ho. Marami ho sa kanila kasi sa kanila very influential din naman sila. Hindi lang naman ho kasi sa pagka member of parliament ang pwede nilang takbuhan eh. I mean, pwede ho sila sa mga local legislative bodies, Sangguniang Bayan, Sangguniang Panglungsod, or they can even they would even want to run for mayors, for instance, dito sa newly created municipalities, no? That's 8 municipalities and na pwede rin ng salihan, no? Of course, in the other municipalities, pwede rin silang tumakbo dahil may mga following din naman talaga itong mga commanders ng Moro Islamic Liberation Front, and we have seen at least in one municipality where they won dito sa Maguindanao del Norte, and one municipality in Maguindanao del Norte and one municipality in Maguindanao del Sur. They practically won in those 2 municipalities, no? And you can see that they really have they would aspire. Not no one would prevent them from aspiring for a local or regional position.
All right. Ang mga taga-political families o ang naman po, marami din ho ba na umaanggulo na tatakbo? Kasi yan yung parang pangamba ng mga tao na the Barm experiment could just actually continue yung rule ng dynasties kung sakali walang ibang players na
Ano
bago.
natin yan, we cannot avoid that situation na talagang hindi na sila hindi na sila tatakbo, no. They would stay because it's still a democratic process naman, no.
Correct.
The MILF and the Moro National Liberation Front have already abandoned the armed struggle, and we have agreed to pursue our aspirations in the democratic process that we have been working on in this during this Bangsamoro transition period, no? And so kung sinabi mong democratic process, hindi ho yung democracy para lang sa MILF or para sa MNLF lang, kundi para sa lahat, no? And naman na ho natin yan mapipigilan. But again, we continue to put stress on the fact na paiba na ho yung sistema na ngayon ho dapat may plataforma ka, meron kang advokasya, and ang problema naman ho kasi talaga yung recipient ng idea ng plataforma ng advokasya eh. Yung nasa tao pa rin yun, sa masses yan eh.
Alright. Okay.
If they continue to be influenced by name recall lang, yung pangalan ng traditional leaders, with due respect, wala namang klarong qualification or career history, nasa tao pa rin ho yan. But we are trying our best. Kaya kami ho, many of us in the parliament have decided to participate in the process kasi nga we want we want the people who are supposed to be beneficiaries of this new system sa Bangsamoro to trust the new system. So dapat ipaglaban din natin yung win or lose, ipaglaban natin yung bagong proseso kasi yan na yung maiiwan natin sa mga masses na pwede nilang gamitin, no, for in their favor para mapabago rin ho yung kalagayan nila.
All right. Ngayon, Attorney Omar, yun yung internally displaced persons. Meron kayong legislation tungkol sa mga karapatan nila. Gaano kadami pa ho ba yung mga IDPs o yung mga internally displaced sa mga nakaraang taon ng giyera o conflict sa Barm area?
Well, marami pa ho. I believe it's still in the hundreds of thousands ang displaced. They are currently living in scattered places. Dito sa Cotabato City na lang ho, marami pa rin mga IDPs nandito. They live with their relatives, no? Wala mang klaro, hindi man ho yung sinasabing IDPs on refugee tents, no? Ang karamihan ho ngayon, they live with their relatives, no? But hindi ho maganda yung scenario dahil na of course it's a question of livability and yung livelihood, no, yung ng mga refugees. Yung kabuhayan nila nandun sa iniwanan nila ng mga ari-arian nila eh. And, dito kung nandito sila sa city, wala silang hanap buhay dito, yun yung isang concern. But nonetheless, in general, even in Sabah, Malaysia, marami pa hong IDPs na nandun. Kaya nga, yung tinatawag natin mga halaw, karamihan nandun pa ho sa Sabah and they are considered stateless. And we hope that yung IDP bill will be able to materialize something for them, no, itong mga internally displaced persons natin. But of course, hindi lang ho yan sa conflict or sa armed conflict, even in as a consequence of climate change, etc. etc. Yan din ho, it's taken into consideration dito sa bill, sa IDP bill.
Alright. May general profile ho ba kayo sa kanila? Ilan yung edad parang minor pa, ilan yung medyo senior age, ilan yung babae, ilan yung lalaki? May ganun kayong profiling?
As far as my office is concerned, wala ho akong data on their profiles, but I believe families ho ang kung may nadi-displace man, it's in the families ho na yan. Buong pamilya ho ang nadi-displace. Hindi naman ho pwedeng aalis si tatay, iiwanan niya yung mga anak niya, no? And of course, currently ho, kung titignan ho natin ang population ng Bangsamoro, 50% ho dito kabataan.
Okay.
Kabataan ho yung
below 18, ganun ho.
Yeah.
Below 18 years old.
Yeah, below 18 years old ho yung population ng in around 30% of that, but above 18%, 18 years old, 50% ho tayo sa kabataan.
Okay. Ibig sabihin, baka marami dito first-time voters para sa May 2025 kung meron
Yeah, marami hong first-time voters, I believe, because
wala naman kayong election pa.
Yun na nga ho, yung dumaan sa barangay elections. And we will look into the data of the COMELEC kung ilan talaga yung kailangan address ng IDP bill, no? And we believe that the intent of the law is to make sure that in times of conflict, in times of displacement, their rights are protected.
All right. Ngayon, tungkol naman sa mga madrasa schools, meron din ho kayong panukala doon, ano? Kasi meron namang mga madrasa schools o departments sa iba't ibang eskwelahan, even dito sa Metro Manila. Ano po yung kakaiba doon sa inyong panukala?
Well, of course, we made sure that the curriculum will yung sa curriculum mo merong Arabic and Islamic studies yon.
Okay.
Yung kagaya noon na hiwalay yung madrasa, private madrasas lang pumupunta yung mga estudyante natin, no? Uh, after Monday to Friday school day, and then Saturday, Sunday they will go to the private madrasa. Hindi na ho ganun.
Okay.
We make sure that in the curriculum in public and private schools there will be Islamic studies. Yan ho.
Okay. Mm.
Yan yung naging kinalabasan ng Bangsamoro Education Code. Now we just passed the REMA bill, the Regional Madrasa Academy. No, we have elevated its status as a Islamic academy that can accommodate even non-Muslim students, no, who would want to learn about Islam and Arabic studies, no. Although may mga schools naman din ho na nag-offer ng ganyan, particularly the Mindanao State University. This one will be solely operated by the Bangsamoro government.
Okay.
And, kasi ngayon wala ho tayong say sa curriculum dun sa mga state universities offering, like Mindanao State University. This Islamic Academy will be operated by the Ministry of Basic, Higher and Technical Education.
Okay. Attorney Omar, para lang mas malinaw, ano po, yung BARM at yung Transition Authority, Parliament, para lang ho sa ikaliliwanag ng lahat. Hindi ho lahat para sa mga Muslim lang sa Mindanao. Meron hong mga Katoliko, Protestante, at iba pang relihiyon na nakatira sa inyong lugar. Paano ho nyo mapapaliwanag sa lahat na this is not a bad thing? Hindi dapat merong suspecha. Hindi dapat may agam-agam kayo. That this project is an experiment in actual innovations sa governance, sa autonomy for the Bangsamoro people, but also for all the people in the Bangsamoro areas.
Well, unang-una ho, yung setup ng Bangsamoro government, no, particularly the parliament, ensured na ho yung participation ng non-Muslim, particularly the settler communities, no. Even the indigenous peoples secured na ho yung seat nila dyan through the sectoral representation. They through that they can participate in lawmaking and policy making in the Bangsamoro government, and that will probably that will be their platform to participate in the process. Now, as far as the operations of the cabinet is concerned, cabinet naman ho, under the office of the chief minister, there is an office for settler communities, and there is an office for there is a ministry for the indigenous peoples affairs, and these are all instrumentalities where they can participate in policy making and in running the affairs of the Bangsamoro government. It can be considered as a platform for transparency because may tao yung mga office na yon, and most probably tao nila yung i-hire ng uupong chief minister. Alangan namang yung sa settler communities, alangan ang ipapaupuin ho natin is Moro din, no? Of course, he can be a Christian, he can be a Catholic, he can be a Protestant. Of course, that will have to be, with due consideration to the trust and confidence of the appointing authority of the chief minister, no? Pero the point here is, meron hong ganyan ng mga instrumentalities sa Bangsamoro government that can ensure that they can turn to when in case of doubt. In case of doubt, as far as the affairs of the Bangsamoro is concerned. And, kami naman ho sa Bangsamoro government, we continue to abide by the Freedom of Information Law. Kung may naghihingi ho ng mga data, we have our websites. In the parliament, the cabinet, the office of the chief minister has its own website. The Bangsamoro government as a whole has its own website. So these are all mechanisms that can sinasabing can be utilized for open governance. the Bangsamoro government has abide by this policy of open governance, and just recently the Secretary of Budget and Management visited the BARM and inaugurated open governance of the Bangsamoro.
Okay, localized OGP project. Ano po? Open Government Partnership. Okay, so attorney, ang nakataya ngayon is yung paghahanda para sa May 2025 elections. First time ever. At yung mga ginagawa ninyong reforma sa pagpapa-institutionalize, ano po, ng autonomy, good governance, etc. So, kayo ba kung sakali may interest kaya o hindi nyo na muna na lang papansinin itong Independent Mindanao Project ni Congressman Pantaleon Alvarez at dating Pangulong Duterte? So, bahala
We
muna
consider
sila.
that as a distraction, ma'am. It is considered as a distraction from the objective of the Bangsamoro. We're doing well in this process. No, we're doing well. Everyone is doing well. The national government, the regional government is doing well. The parties to the peace agreement are doing well. We're all in the same page here. Yung sustaining the gains of the peace process, preserving all of these, no? And because we believe that this process works. Now we cannot hindi kami pwedeng ma-distract sa mga usapin na yan. Bagkus we're willing even to I believe that our leaders are willing to pumagitna sa usapin na yan. Kasi nga, as far as we are concerned, may nakikita kaming opportunity dito nga to amend the Constitution para ma-entrench yung yung Bangsamoro sa 1987 Constitution. And that, I believe, that is the be-all, end-all doon sa peace process. Yun yung ultimate. Kasi nga, nakikita natin, ma'am, na even the Electoral Code, may petition sa Supreme Court. More so, yung Bangsamoro Organic Law, may petition sa Supreme Court. No?
Correct.
And all of these, nakikita natin na parang may sword of Damocles above the Bangsamoro Organic Law. And when we were writing, because I am part of the Bangsamoro Transition Commission, when we were writing the Bangsamoro Organic Law, we all agreed, the 21 of us, yung expanded BTC, including the chair then, the late Gadjali Jaafar, that the only way to protect itong Bangsamoro Organic Law is to make sure that the Bangsamoro will be entrenched in the Constitution.
All right. At hindi sa iba pang mga bagay like separate Mindanao.
Hindi ho. Kasi alam namin na pag nagsaksid ho ang Bangsamoro, lahat ho magsasakid. Because we believe, kami naman ho, hindi naman ho, habang buhay na magiging forever and ever yung dependency sa national government as far as budgeting is funding requirements is concerned. We still have to rise and stand on our own, no?
All right.
Kailangan meron kaming resources that may revenue generation kami. Yun ho yung pag nag-succeed ho kami diyan, I believe everybody happy ho yan na yung Pilipinas.
I-codify sa 1987 Constitution, yung
amend Article 10 of the 1987 Constitution and make sure that all the powers that have been granted or have been agreed upon in the Comprehensive Agreement of Bangsamoro, in the 1976 Tripoli Agreement, in the 1996 Final Peace Agreement, will be embedded in the 1987.
Correct. Okay. In the meantime, ilan ho doon sa 27 probinsya ng Mindanao ang nasa inyo nga? Sa Bangsamoro?
6 ho.
6, so 21 na lang.
tatlong syudad.
All right. So at parang ang matitira sa kanila 21 at 27 na cities na lang. Ano po? Kasi ang inyong gusto institutionalization. Codify it, enshrine it in the Constitution para yung Bangsamoro Comprehensive Agreement maging pinal na kasali, hindi hiwalay.
Para matapos na ho yung hidwahan.
Okay. All right.
And yun na nga, we are saying na hindi ho secession, hindi ho paghihiwalay ang solusyon sa problema. Pag-usapan nila kung sa tingin ho nila na it does not work, the system does not work, probably yung presidential system, maybe they can even adopt a parliamentary system, a parliamentary federal system, where each will have their own self-governing region.
All right. Okay. So, on that note, kami po'y nagpapasalamat Attorney Omar Yasser Sema, ang Deputy Speaker ng Bangsamoro Transition Authority Parliament at member ng Expanded Transition Commission ng Bangsamoro. Magandang araw po at maraming salamat. Ingat, sir. Update tayo.
Salamat ho, Ma'am Malu, and thank you for having us. Much appreciated ho.